The raw anticipation when the game is on the line, every play, every movement, every moment matters as the fans hold their breath and sometimes scream at the top of their lungs. There's only one more matchup in this NFL season. It all comes down to what happens next in New Orleans this Sunday.
But this season, there's been only one place to get the best live reactions, predictions, and hot takes on all the action on the gridiron, and that place has been the Endzone. And we are getting into the game day spirit with Frank Hamilton and Gary John, two of the co-hosts of the Endzone podcast on Big 107.7. Guys, thanks for being here this afternoon. All right, let's go back a little bit. Where did the idea come to have this podcast?
Well, about 20 some odd years ago, John Joins, Ed Fennessy, and I did this on a sports talk AM station. Mm-hmm. And as time goes on, we left Clear Channel and came over to WBOC, and then we bought radio stations. And then thought, it'd be nice to bring the show back. So I talked to John, and John was willing to do it again. So then we grabbed one of the best sports announcers on the shore with Gary, and then we brought in our buddy Rick, who's a Ravens fan. And then we bring in Jared Watson sometimes as a fill-in or an associate host. So It's kind of cool. The 4 or 5 of us get together and talk football.
I can imagine the kind of conversations you guys have had, but what kind of interactions have you had with audience?
Well, I mean, we fashioned the idea of this show. It's a show for football fans by football fans. We don't try to joke anybody into thinking that we're some sort of X's and O's experts. Okay. So it's literally, if you have the feeling of you're sitting around on the couch with your friends talking about the games that you watched on Sunday, that's really how we do it. And the interaction's been great. I mean, we've got few regular callers and texters. Shout out to Mr. Fish and Dave, our resident Cowboys fan in Dagsboro, who's probably still singing the blues after Brian Schottenheimer got hired. But it's just been a whole lot of fun. The reaction to the audience has been really cool, and it's been such an enjoyable run of weeks.
Yeah. And you guys also make predictions throughout the season. So has there been any victor that has emerged with the best predictions?
Well, me, Rick Stokely, and John Joins all tied for the lead.
Yeah, we did a segment of the show every week that was your lock of the week. They all finished at the top, but I took the strategy of picking a different team every week and actually a difficult game, unlike John Joins, who spent most of the year picking the Chiefs.
Yeah. He did Chiefs, Detroit, Chiefs, Detroit.
So we're going to put better rules in if the show gets continued next year.
Looking back at the season, was there any particular story that caught your interest the most?
We talked about Kansas City for the whole season because we kept waiting for them to fail. Because they had no receivers at the time, and we just thought they can't keep winning. There's no way they can keep winning. Yet they did.
For me, there's two that really stand out for me. The resurgence of the Washington Commanders and how well Jaden Daniels played this year, which shout out to Frank and myself, who on our first show thought that he was going to be the best rookie quarterback this season. So we were right about at least one thing this year. And then the revaluation of the running back position that happened in the offseason. Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs all signed big contracts, which NFL teams had kind of gotten away from. It was nice to see those guys be successful, and we get to see one of those guys play again on Sunday.
And speaking of Sunday, any predictions for the Super Bowl?
I'll let you go first.
I think Kansas City's going to win. I'm not picking against them. There's no way possible I'm picking against them.
I will preface my prediction with this. As anybody that listened to the End Zone knows, I said before the playoffs started that I promised myself I wouldn't pick against the Chiefs in the playoffs because we've been waiting for them to lose all year, and it hasn't happened. However, this Sunday, I am picking against the Chiefs, and I don't really think it's going to be all that close. I think the Eagles are the better team. I think they're going to get out to a fast start. The difference between the Super Bowl this Sunday and the one 2 years ago, that Eagles defense won't fold in the second half. I've got Philly 34, Kansas City 20.
All right.
I'm curious, has there ever been any fistfights break out during the podcast?
No. But, the other cool thing is, too, like Gary and I went over, as a Super Bowl teams, you can't find two teams that are more evenly matched. Because we went through on our show Monday night, quarterback went to Kansas City, the running back went to Philadelphia, the offensive line went to Philly, then the defensive line went to, so back and forth when you look at it, I mean, the teams are very, very evenly matched, so it should be a good game.
Yeah, It's going to be a great game. Okay, so you guys have plans to continue the show?
Yeah, as long as they keep me on the air.
Yes, as long as we get invited back, we'll be excited. We are putting plans together to do special shows around the NFL draft. This Monday will actually be our kind of season finale to wrap up our reactions to the big game, and then hopefully, God willing, we'll be back in August.
And we're thinking about adding cameras to the studio so we can stream.
Oh.
So that if you do break out into a fist fight, we can watch.
Yes.
All see it.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Ratings will
Excellent.
skyrocket.
They always say blood makes things better.
Oh,
Yes.
And don't forget that the Super Bowl is happening this Sunday night on our sister station, Fox 21. It's going to be a great matchup.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Gentlemen, thank you. Wonderful
You're
talking to you.
welcome.
Can't
Thank you for
wait
having us.
to see how this turns out, not only in the game, but in the podcast as well.